Riley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, November 28th to Saturday, December 4th. So we are wrapping up the final days of November, and our full last week of November, this past week, has been nothing short of a little bit of an energetic doozy, if I do say so myself. As you may know, we moved into Sagittarius season just on Sunday, and we didn't really get a whole lot of time to actually experience this beautiful fire energy that we've been lacking for so long, because the moon moved into Cancer. And Lord, let me tell you, we were low, we were slow, we were emotional. We were so stuck in nostalgia, so stuck in the past. We were over flooded with emotions. And just when we thought we were shaking off, drying off from Scorpio season, that moon in Cancer kept us down, kept us just soaked with transformation, cleansing, purging energy to detach us from the past for good. So we definitely got a little bit drier, let's say, when the moon moved into Leo. And of course, that brightens the mood. It was fire on fire. We started peaking a little bit, and we had Mercury move into Sagittarius as well. And let me just tell you, that's why you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. That's why you're having rapid thinking processes, big ideas. There's a lot of anxiety kind of being built up right now, and that is due to our minds processing at an accelerated speed. Like we are just on overload. Somebody, really press that fast forward button in our mental plane, in our speech, in our communication, and suddenly we're all amped up. We got all kinds of energy. So we have been tracking the Schumann Resonance. If you're not on my Instagram or my Facebook, you should definitely check that out. I do make those same posts here on YouTube, but sometimes they don't get, put out to my audience. They don't get put out to my subscribers, my community, my people. So make sure you're following me on all the different platforms. I'm definitely being censored on Facebook and on Instagram, so I don't make a whole lot of posts, but just keep an eye on my stories. That's where I like to put the updates, especially for the Schumann Resonance. And we definitely seen the energy blasts come in over this past week. We had, plasma flares coming off of the sun. It actually perfectly aligned with the 1122 portal. And, there's many, many different portals of energy coming in all throughout this month. It's a very transformative month. And lucky for us, it is almost over. We are going to wrap it up with the last quarter moon in Virgo. We're going to get organized. We're going to come back down to earth. We're sorting things out. We're getting our heart and our head on the same page, and we're cleaning up the debris in our physical realms that got a little bit messy, that got pushed to the side because we were going a little bit cray-cray. Many of us have been bedridden, coach-ridden with all of these huge energies coming in, and our physical realms tend to fall apart when the energy gets high because we have better things to do than mundane tasks and chores. But of course, that Virgo energy is all about those tasks and chores, and we're going to get up to speed. We're going to get things cleaned up. We're going to get things reorganized by the end of this weekend. So this week, what do we have to look forward to? Well, we have December. Very, very exciting, actually, because it means that 2021 is almost over. It has been quite a year. We're in a transitional year. This was an adjustment year. We are moving into building some solid foundations and gaining some clarity and stability in 2022, but we still have a whole full month of astro events to work through before we're going to be able to close this chapter for good. And we're wasting no time coming into December. Definitely look out for the energy forecast dropping on December 1st. I'm still very uncertain whether I'm going to be doing the Astro Tarot forecasts for the month. I only had 450 views out of the whole month on November's Astro Tarot forecast, which is a little bit disappointing, seeing as I get that many views on these daily forecasts within 24 hours. So I'm really not sure what to do. I hate to switch things up because I know a lot of people really look forward to them, but again, they take a super long time for me to do. And I don't know, maybe drop in the comments whether or not, I should do it one last time and maybe switch things up moving into 2022. Or if you think, we get enough info from the energy forecast for the month, for the week, for the day, that we could bypass those Astro Tarot forecasts altogether. I want to know your thoughts on that. But either way, we have a whole bunch of info coming out on December 1st. And on December 1st, we actually have Neptune coming out of a retrograde after many months being in a retrograde. We're going direct. This is going to be a good energy. We get to essentially, start dreaming again, start getting in alignment with our spirit again. Neptune retrograde, that's kind of where we get the rose-colored glasses smacked off of our face and we can't run and we can't hide, especially from the truth. And as you know, we're in the Great Awakening, so we can't run from the truth any longer. Neptune being in a place of power in Piscean energy does tend to be a little bit, elusive, delusional, lies, deception, corruption. We're asleep in Pisces, the unconscious collective. That's why moving into the new age of Aquarius is such a beautiful thing, because that is when the conscious, the collective conscious becomes awake and aware. That's why we're going through all of this. So let me just remind you, we're still in eclipse season. We are smack dab in the middle of eclipse season, and the universe, karma, is at the wheel. We do not have control over these elements. And as you know, the full moon in Taurus, that lunar eclipse that we just had on the 19th, that kind of removed us. That was the purge. That was the clean out. That was the cleaning of the slate, so to speak. We have this beautiful new moon solar eclipse taking place in Sag on December 4th. That's what we're going to be building towards all week. And this is where we get rewarded for our pain, for our suffering. This is where we get our blessings. This is where new opportunities unfold. This is why we had to do the deep purge that we just did, the deep transformation in our heart space, in our psyche, in our soul in Scorpio season, to prepare us to actually be the people, to be the vibration, to be the frequency that we need to be in order to accept these blessings, these gifts, this new path, this new mission, this new purpose. So, it's going to be another week of really kind of observing, because again, we don't have a lot of, control over our physical realms right now. It's really sitting back and seeing where the universe is sending us our cues and what we can take from this and piece it all together and, recognize that things aren't happening to us, that they're actually happening for us. And, just be the observer and try to open our minds and open our heart space to understanding the greater divine plan that is at play here, because we're all playing a role. And you know what? Sometimes in our individual lives, we think, I should be doing more. I should be helping the earth. I should be doing this. There's more I can do. I need more meaning. I need new purpose. What we don't understand is that the great big master plan is it's a well-oiled machine. You're exactly where it is that you need to be. If you feel like you are knocked down, beat up, and just like smack dab, like can't take it anymore, take this time to rest, because you're going to need it. We're going to be accelerating so fast into this next year, wrapping up this last chapter of 2021, jumping into 2022. So many cosmic divine events coming for us that you're going to need all the rest, all the energy you can get. So if you feel like you're beat down right now, just accept it. Don't try to get up, just rest. Because again, you are going to need it. So we're going to jump into the Ascension symptoms, but just a couple of things that we have to address, a little bit of homework if you will. First of all, I want to thank you so much for all of the beautiful birthday wishes that have just continued well into this very first week of my brand new solar year. Y'all have been so sweet to me, so kind. You guys are anyways, but just the birthday love that I got from y'all was just, heartwarming. It's very soul tingling. And I just want to thank you guys, each and every single one of you, for taking the time to reach out, to send me some birthday love, to acknowledge it. It was awesome. It is a great start to a brand new year for me, and y'all have made a beautiful foundation for us to all build off of. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank you for all of the amazing comments about the new moon guide format. I am currently working on the new moon guide, the solar eclipse coming up on December 4th. Hopefully that will be ready for download by the end of the weekend, fingers crossed. But I really love the feedback. I love that when I put a call out and ask y'all a question, that you guys you give me the answers that I'm looking for. I love it. Thank you so much for the feedback. And you know what? If you're not already a Moon subscriber, you should be. We got a brand new year coming up. We got all kinds of good things happening. It's the best way that I can provide you with as much guidance as you're going to need to get in alignment with all of these beautiful things coming at us from the cosmos. So thank you for that as well. The last thing I want to address is, yes, I've had some messages that y'all can't find my booking calendar on my website. My books are officially closed for 2021. Thank you so much for making it all happen here in 2021. My client list is just growing exponentially. I love being able to contact and connect with each and every single one of you. But I got some things in the works for the new year, and I need a little bit of time to get aligned. So my books are officially closed. That's why you can't find how to book a session with me. My Moon subscribers, you're still going to get yours throughout December. All of my, my subscribers, you're all still in it, but not taking on any new clients, not booking any new sessions. So I want to thank you for that, so that I can get my butt in gear, come out with some amazing things to keep us all occupied, aligned, and just charged up, ready to go for 2022. So the Ascension symptoms for this week, let me just remind you, why are we having these Ascension symptoms? Well, it's because our spiritual immune system has essentially woke up to this really gross physical reality of ours, the lies, the corruption, the falsities, and our spiritual immune system is now sick, very hyper-reactive to all of the quote-unquote bullshit going on all over the world. And because we are in a state of awakening, because we're entering into the new age of Aquarius, because Mother Earth, Gaia herself, has woken up and adopted a brand new frequency, a brand new vibration for her heart center, for her pulse, we got to catch up. And when the energies get intense, we feel that in our physical forms. So yes, it's almost like we're having an allergic response to the physical realm of bullshit that we are all living in right now. And as the energies grow, as we ascend, as we enlighten, as we peel back the layers to what it is to actually be human, we are gaining knowledge. Knowledge is light, light is knowledge. And the more knowledge we have, the more we open our mind, the more we open our perspective. And you know what? That's how we grow. That's how we evolve. That's what we're here for. So our spiritual immune system is definitely reactive, right? And we've been noticing, especially with the elevated energies and frequencies and vibrations coming in from the cosmos, that, you know what, our physical bodies are going through its own little transformation when our light bodies are going through this transformation. And as we are all noticing, we've had to go through a serious purge. This likely is a purge of ego, of identity, of old belief systems. That's where it all starts. And, once we've been awakened, once we've been activated, it's just a constant uphill battle, a spiral, if you will, through evolving, through tough love life lessons. And again, all of it is to expose us to new information, new perspectives, new ways of doing things. And that, my friends, is enlightenment. It returns us back to our source self. And that is why our physical bodies are having such a hard time. So speaking of the purge, many of us were definitely feeling those Ascension Flu symptoms. May I remind you, it's just like having a cold or flu. So, you're achy, your nose is stuffed up, you're running a fever, you're nauseous, maybe you're puking, you got, migraines, you got all these chills. Well, every single time that Mother Earth ups her game and, vibrates at a different higher frequency, we have to up our game too. This is spiritual boot camp. This is what we're here to do. So many of us were kind of bedridden, kind of low and slow, going through the deep-seated purge, not only last week, but mostly through Scorpio season. But that transfer, that shift from Scorpio into Sag, man, it definitely knocked many of us seasoned light workers right on our butts. I hope you're feeling well, a lot better now than we were this time last week. But those symptoms are going to continue. Because we have all this fire energy, and let me just tell you, Sag season really doesn't get going until after this eclipse. So, we're still in this very wonky period. Mercury, the ruler of the mental plane, now in Sag, definitely putting the pressure on our headspace. We're kind of spacey. We're kind of dizzy. We're kind of disassociative. We are all kinds of just scatterbrained, being pulled back and forth, big ideas, can't focus on anything, need to do everything yesterday. And you know what? It's not helping with the restlessness, with the anxiety. And let me just tell you, we haven't had fire energy for a while. And like I kind of stated last week, it can definitely get pretty manic. We are in an accelerated process of evolution, of purging, of elevating, of just bumping ourselves up. And with that comes rapid thought process. We have rapid heartbeats. We have accelerated speech. We have so much energy in us. We just don't know how to channel it correctly. And so we have to make sure that we're engaging in physical activities to, give the energy a healthy channel to actually get out of our physical forms, or we might just experience our heads exploding. I'm kind of joking, but at the same time, the feeling that we get, not really. It does kind of feel like our hearts can explode at any time. Our heads can explode at any time. We just might just internally combust from all the energies bouncing around in there. And you know what? We have to be mindful. Now, let me just remind you, we are all healers. We have all the wisdom, all the knowledge from our ancestors within us to calm all of these symptoms. We have to be put in a pressurized situation. That's how diamonds are born, people. And we have to be put in these situations in order for us to reach a breaking point in our pain and suffering, in order for us to access that hidden knowledge within us. And sometimes it takes us in our egoic selves to say, you know what? I can't stand another migraine. What am I going to do? Then we turn to, holistic alternatives. We turn to oils. We turn to massage. We turn to frequency and vibrational healing. And all of that is just activating all of these methodologies that we've had inside of us in our DNA, in our ancestral line. Like, we come from great wisdom. We have to remember who it is that we are. And, going through this little spiritual boot camp, there's no better time to access that hidden knowledge than right now. So we are going to have some throat activations, because guess what? This Sag energy is on a quest of truth. And sometimes, although we are eager to gain that truth as in a form of knowledge, and again, Mercury being in Sagittarius, we have open minds. We're just on the bigger, grander, perspective and the possibilities and all of these lovely things. But we also have a truth that we need to speak. And maybe it starts with speaking it to ourselves, looking at ourselves in the mirror. But we just went through a very, very deep transformative time. Okay, Scorpio season, no joke, people. I tried to warn you. And I'm not going to say that you didn't believe me, but I did have messages halfway through going, wow, like this is a banger. Like this is really beating me down. It's supposed to, because when you break down, you're preparing for a breakthrough. And here's the breakthrough. We are in it. But now we have a new truth to speak. We have new stories to tell. We have new revelations, realizations that we have to actually speak into our reality, speak into existence. So our throats are going to feel a little bit funny. Now, it could be an itch, could be a sore throat. It could be, that feeling. It's not necessarily itchy, but it only feels good when you're like, chewing food and swallowing it, and it's very soothing. We're going to have some kind of attention put on our throat chakras this week. Now, we have had this film in our mouth and on our tongue and all these just lovely experiences being in this human body. And the film will likely kind of continue, but it feels like we're constantly having to cleanse our palates. And I want to talk about that for a second because our taste buds are changing at a rapid rate. Now, many of us have gone through these, very, very intense forms where we can't stop eating. And then, we go days without wanting to eat. And many of the foods that we've been in love with suddenly just turn our stomachs now. And some of the foods that we've never eaten, suddenly we are open to trying and find out that we really, really enjoy them. So our whole taste bud sensory system is going through a transformation. And this is kind of leading to the film, to the not so comfortable situations going on in our mouth, in our throat. Many of us are having canker sores or biting our lips and splitting our lips open, or the corners of your lip are kind of cracking, very itchy, scratchy lips, if you will, and extreme thirst. Like, you would have thought coming out of a water season such as Scorpio that we would be well and good, saturated with all of that wonderful hydrating water that we just went through. But many of us have cried that out. Some of us have sweated out. Some of us have puked it out. We are dehydrated. The thirst is going to be extreme. And since we're talking about the throat and the lips, we have to kind of connect that. Of course, our sinuses are going to continue to be congested off and on. That's that third eye activation as well. But our ears, anybody notice extra ear wax build up? Like, I know that we've been talking about like hearing things and, hearing voices and hearing our names being called out and nobody's around, and we're hearing beeping and phones ringing, and that's not happening in our physical realm. It must be otherworldly. But earwax, like, that is a physical thing that we can visually see is changing. And I feel that it has a lot to do with our body systems, our biological body systems, just trying to adapt to all these new energies, to our new way of being, to these new vibrations, these new frequencies. And I feel like we're going to notice the wax buildup, the change in our sensory perception, especially where the ears are concerned as well, because we're in a different realm, people. I don't know if you noticed, but we are in a different realm. And speaking of that different realm, we're missing time. We are just blacking out. We're not remembering things that we should. We're not even remembering whether or not certain experiences actually happened, or if it's something that we thought of or dreamed of. We are losing track of time. We are losing track of physical items. Anybody else feel like there are just like little elves coming in and just hiding your shit on you, and you can't find it, and you spend like hours thinking that you're crazy looking for physical items, and sometimes they appear, sometimes they don't. This is the overlap. Again, we're in a different dimension. We're in a different reality. And, tangible things, they change their frequency and vibration too. And sometimes they go missing altogether. This whole new perception that we're in, this dimension that we're in, this reality that we're in is having a major impact on our physical form. That's why we're having the Ascension symptoms kind of feel like just when we thought we were getting used to them, bam. Like, wow, where did that come from? Like, wow, why am I still like bedridden? Like, wow, when is this going to stop? When's the pressure in my head going to feel like, relieved? Many of us have had our heads in a vice grip, and, that is part and parcel of opening our minds, literally. Okay. It doesn't feel good to open your mind. It doesn't feel good to expand your heart, right? Think about it. It sounds really nice. But physically speaking, that kind of sounds a little bit painful, and that's definitely what we're going through. Speaking of the body changes, this has a huge impact on our central nervous system. So the jitteriness, the restlessness, the anxiety, the ups and downs, the surge of energy, that's cortisol, that's adrenaline. We have a new mission. And I just want you to remember that, like, if you think of life as a video game, which you should, because it definitely is, it's a very false reality. Like, once you get on the other side and you realize that this literally was just a video game, you're just going to laugh at yourself for caring about things as much as you care about them here, because it literally is just a falsity. And I know from experience, been there, got the t-shirt, can't wait to go back. But anyways, we have a new mission, like we've leveled up. So let's just imagine that we're in this video game and we defeated the boss and suddenly we now have new powers, right? And you know, when you beat the game, you start the game over, but it's just slightly different. There's like different elements and the bosses aren't quite the same. They have different techniques and you're not quite the same. You have different tricks. Well, we're in this new level of a video game. And we know we have these new tricks. We know we have a new mission. We know that it's kind of the same level, but something's different. It's not quite the same level. We're anxious to get the party started. Our soul self knows far more than our ego self would ever know. And we know that we're on the precipice of a huge change, a huge transformation. There's new timelines, there's new soul contracts, there's new missions. They're just not here yet. Again, we are in eclipse season. We cannot expect to see anything kind of solidify until Capricorn season. That's when manifesting and creation comes. We're not there yet. We're just trying to get excited about our new ideas, our new passions, our new desires right now after the very deep, dark transformation that we just came out of. So the anxiety, the central nervous system, the jitters, that's got to be a common thing. We are leveling up to a new level of vibration and frequency. And, you know, our physical forms, it takes a little bit of time to get them up to the same level as our energetic bodies are. So with the central nervous system, as you know, we are going to experience a sensory overload. We talked about this with our ears. We talked about this with our mouth, with our throat. Let's talk about the eyes, because things have gotten awfully bright. Sag season does light things up. It does make a bigger, brighter picture for us to actually focus on. The possibilities, the opportunities are much brighter. We're elevating our mind to see the greater plan at play. But with that comes sensory sensitivity. Now, in weeks gone by, we were seeing orbs, we were seeing lights, we were having, itchy scratchiness in our eyes, dryness in our eyes, sand in our eyes. We had goo, we had crusties, we had all kinds of stuff. Well, you might just have to, get on the whole Corey Hart thing and wear your sunglasses at night, because even the stars, even the moon is bright. And we have to be very mindful that when our senses are overloaded, we can trigger migraines. We can trigger some of these ascension symptoms, even without these huge energies coming in. And this is why it's down to us to remember how to heal ourselves. So like we talked about, I think it was last week or the week before, like you can slow down the energy coming in through your crown by wearing a black toque, black hat, by putting pressure on your head, putting your hood up. And you can slow down the energies that you're bringing in from the earth by wearing rubber-soled slippers or shoes. There are things, you can weight yourself down with rocks in your palm chakras. You can use oils. You can do a lot of fine-tuning with, hemisync, with binaural beats. This is vibrational frequency healing. We have to revert and move inward and really connect to the inner guidance that our bodies, our DNA is housing within us. And we're going to get an awful lot of opportunity coming this week to really put our ancient healing methods to the test. Now, we want to talk about the crown for a second. So remember we were talking about how our hair was hurting, there were chunks of our hair that was just sore. And that again is huge amounts of energy, light codes coming in from the cosmos, coming into our crown to open our minds. And as you know, our minds are wide open. That's why we're having spaciness and dizziness and just rapid thinking and all over the place. Well, it's going to feel like Yes, there's still going to be pressure in the head, but where I was going with this is like, you know, when you have like hair on you, like you can't, you know, you're trying to grasp that piece of hair, you can feel it on you. It's like cobwebs, right? Like you feel like it's something's blowing on you or crawling on you, and it's like a stray piece of hair that you just can't seem to locate. Well, that whole sensation is definitely going to be at the top of the list this week. It feels like there's something on us and we can't get it off. And there feels like there's hair brushing up against the back of our necks, and yet it's not. We're going to feel these sensations. They might not physically actually be there. And again, this is the overlap of realms, the overlap of dimensions. With that being said, like dream state, let's talk about our dream state. Now, many of us have been having very prophetic dreams. Let me just remind you, if you're up on YouTube or on TikTok, watching all kinds of these fear-based, you know, people talking about, oh my goodness, like the end of days and, you know, the depopulation and the whole, you know, pandemic and La Palma and like all these fear-based ridden things. I'm not saying that they're not real. I'm not saying that there's not merit to worry about them. But when you are consuming this stuff and you go to bed and have these wild ass dreams, are they really prophetic, or are you just feeding your subconscious self? That's what we need to figure out. Because many of us are having prophetic dreams, are having very revealing dreams about our current situation and where it is that we're going. But many of us aren't realizing that what we put into our body isn't just diet. It's also thoughts, it's also imagery, it's also information. And when you taint your mind before bed, you will have some whack-ass dreams, okay? And especially because we have Neptune going direct, that is the ruler of dreams. So we have to expect that our dreams are going to get a little bit jacked up. They're going to get a little bit more real. They're going to bring a lot more emotion. We are going to find that we are connecting with other star beings in our dreams. We're going to brush it off like it was just a weird-ass dream. It's not. It's divine meeting. Same with people who you've lost in this physical realm. If you ever have a dream of a loved one that has passed on, that is not a dream, people. That is a meeting. That's where they meet us in the astral realm. That is think of it as a conference room between realms. That's where we meet up. So I want you to pay attention to how your dream content and your dream state, if you will, shifts this week, especially when Neptune is coming out of retrograde and going direct. I want to talk about some breathing issues because many people, especially with this, you know, whole, I hate to even say it or else I'll get censored on here, but you know what I'm talking about. Anytime anybody has any breathing issues now, it's like, oh my God, I got the vid. It's got to be it. No. Your energy body is elevating. Your physical body is trying to keep up. Mana, chi, is life force energy that we as human beings bring into our lungs. That's why we have heart activations in order for us to expand our lungs to the absolute extreme that we can bring that air in. That is expansion. That is how we grow. That is how we activate. But breathing issues have been a thing off and on. Breathing issues are going to be a thing this week, mostly because the anxiety, the restlessness in our central nervous system is pressurizing us. And many of us don't breathe properly anyways. Short, shallow breaths, not doing anyone any favors, okay? You want to do a deep breath. You want it to be counted. You want it to come in through the nose, out through the lungs. You want to experiment with that. Get your breath work game on point. You are going to need it. We are upping our game, people, which means that the air that we bring into our bodies not only is oxygenating our blood, it is expanding our lungs. It's expanding our heart space, which are going to let more activations in. Now, with that, I want to talk about going down a little bit further. We've been having some solar plexus issues, and with the purge, we've been having some bathroom issues. This week, I want to talk about extra gas. So whether you're burping it, whether it's coming out the other way, or whether it's just stuck in your gut underneath your rib cage, you want to take that as an indication that you have to move your body a little bit more. Maybe you need to dance, maybe you need to hula hoop, maybe you need to just jump up and down a couple times in the same spot. We have a huge regeneration from Scorpio season taking place in our digestive tracts. And we have to get our bodies moving in order to move whatever it is that we're putting in it through us. That's going to help the bathroom issues. We've been having knots and just a wrench in our gut, like a pile of rocks in our gut. And that hasn't been helping the bathroom issues either. The cramping is not fun. The spasms in our lower vicinities aren't fun either. But this is all a readjustment, a realignment. And we have to be very mindful that our physical bodies need to realign when our energetic bodies go through an alignment as well. And speaking of alignment, we're definitely going to be feeling this pressure in our hips. There might be clicking, there might be cracking, there might be popping, your hip might be out of joint. I literally kind of scooted down to check my laptop there the other day because I was kind of in a squatting position and like my hip totally popped out. And that isn't pleasant, doesn't feel good. And just when you think you should be alarmed, suddenly you stand up and you work things out and you're like, well, damn, I didn't even know I needed that readjustment. Thank you. Like that is the cheapest chiropractic energy you could possibly get, is an automatic energetic alignment in your physical form. So I just want you to pay attention to where it is that you're storing this energy. And likely, like I said, very deep in the gut and in the hips. We have to remember that Sag season rules over the upper thighs as well. So we're going to be feeling that restlessness, that tension in our thighs and our knees and our calves and our feet as we reconnect to Gaia and she ups her energy game. Speaking of feet, we might be having cold feet. I want to talk about temperature changes in general. Mostly, we're going to have some pretty cold ass feet. That's Neptune. Neptune on the move is definitely adding to our cold feet. We are in the middle of huge change, huge transformation. We're not encouraged to take a step forward yet. We're having cold feet about the steps forward that we know we have to make when we're given the green light, go ahead. But the temperature changes, we're going to go from running really hot to like automatic cold chills and then back again. We're in a fire season, which means that we are fired up. We are feeling the hotness just run through us, through our blood. That's how we purify our blood. As you know, Scorpio season highlighted the transformation in our blood. We've had DNA activations ever since. Many of us, depending on whether or not you put that stuff, quote unquote, that stuff in you, doesn't matter whether or not you have that in you or not. Again, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, can't say it or else I'll be censored. We're all down for a cleanse, okay? We're all scheduled for a detox, for a cleanse. So it doesn't matter whether you chose to get that in you or not. It's time to do a cleanse. We just came out of transformative season and Scorpio season. We have a clean out to do. And the hotness, the temperature fluctuation is just helping us to kind of purge what it is that we need to purge in our blood. So we're going to feel the temperature change and that flushing feeling happen quite often, to be honest with you. And just be mindful of when it happens. Be mindful of what's going on when it happens. They're all hints. They're all cues to what it is that's going on inside you in biologically speaking and energetically speaking. So I feel like taking a look at my list, I feel like we covered everything. I feel like I've kind of leaned into the most important symptoms that we're probably going to feel this week. Of course, we're all at different stages of the game. We're all at different stages of our own individual journeys, and we're all at different stages of our collective journeys as well. So, this list, as much as I like to keep it mainly focused on the new ones emerging, there's always an overlap. Many people will watch the Ascension Forecast that I put out last week, and they're just starting to have those symptoms. Now, that doesn't mean that you're behind, just means that you're at a different place. And so, it's always good to go back to the previous week and check to see where it is that you're at. And even this week, listen to this week's Ascension Forecast multiple times throughout the week, because you know what? As you progress throughout the week, certain things might stick out to you than they would at the beginning of the week. So, I put these forecasts out hoping that they will continue to assist and continue to be the guidance that we need moving throughout the week. So you got to make sure that even though I love when you're here, you're live, you're in the chat, that you're checking back, on Monday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, preparing for the new episode dropping on Fridays. So hopefully it's not going to be a bad week. I am going to tell you though, plan for Tuesday and Wednesday to kind of be super whack. And then as we're building towards that solar eclipse on Saturday, we're likely going to feel a little bit jacked Friday into Saturday as well. And then followed or in unison with complete exhaustion as well. Again, we're off and on, we're hot and cold, we're up, we're down, we're here, but we're not. We're all over the freaking place because we're literally jumping timelines, we're jumping dimensions. There's an overlap. We got a physical body, we got an energetic body. There's a lot going on. So hopefully we'll all be able to just, breeze through it and just deal with it with as much grace and as much ease as possible. But if we don't, just know that you can come back to this channel. You can read through the comments, you can send me a message, and you know what? You'll be validated that, you're not the only one going through it. We're all going through this together. All the time, all I want is to walk away from these sessions. Bottom line, know that we're all going through this together. So with that being said, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank you for joining me here in the chat. I want to thank you for showing up for yourself. We have a beautiful week to tackle. I hope that we get through it with as much ease as possible, especially after last week. And all we can do is keep our fingers crossed, keep our sights set on the possibilities of the future, and take it with a grain of salt. You're here to be a warrior. You're doing it. You're in it. We're going to continue doing it. And you know that I'll be back next week with a full rundown on what we can expect jumping into December. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here. I'm sending you nothing but love. We'll talk to you soon.